Well, it's going to be a tough task. Always easy to say that it's Run DBC back together with you. Stern, DZ, Bones. You look like you have a dad joke prepared. Do you want to open?
No, nothing
Do you
prepared.
have an index card there? With
Well, I'll find one throughout the
We
broadcast.
might need it to kind of lighten things here in the city after what took place in game number 3. And the story, again, was the same 3D that it was last year in game 3, and that's the arrival of the Kevin Durant that everybody wants, which is the one that dominates. They weren't happy enough with the 20 and the 26, so they got 43.
Yeah, I think after game 1, I think he was 8 of 22 from the field, and they said Durant was in a slump, not shooting the ball well, and I was like, what are they talking about? And then he reminds us on how good and efficient scorer that he is. And, Brent, if you'd have told me that the Splash Bros would have come into game 3, shoot the ball terribly, and this guy would show up for 40, I said that could happen, but it did happen in a big way.
Well, we had mentioned, again, coming off of the Houston series and how much isolation play and the capable switching that Houston employed against Golden State, that Kevin Durant worked his way out of that isolation ball into a great rhythm game in game 2. And because he was in such a great rhythm in game 2 that carried into game 3, Steve Kerr said, you know what, let's try that isolation thing again. And it worked out to the tune of 43 massive points. And it just looks like Kevin Durant's toying with what it is that is the defender. Sometimes it doesn't look like there's a defender, but it's just so easy for him to score the basketball, and it was a show last night here at the Q from Kevin Durant.
And partner, to your point, how impressed were you with Steve Kerr realized that in the second half where he kind of took the ball out of Steph's hand, it was point KD down the stretch.
We could say it was easier for Steve because Steph and Clay were not splashing anything. So it's kind of like, all right, Kevin's going. Let's just go feed Kevin and see what happens. And Casey, if you play that way and Kevin does get going, at some point, what didn't happen for Cleveland was a massive adjustment to go and double team him on a night where Steph and Clay were not shooting the ball well. This is the dilemma for any opposing coach that faces the offensive potency of the Golden State Warriors. Is okay, I've seen that those guys aren't going tonight, but I know what they're capable of doing. Do I challenge them and dare them to take shots by sending a secondary defender to Kevin Durant? They elected not to do it. KD was still enough, and then a couple late key baskets by Steph, and they win the game.
You know, the interesting thing is this is the beauty, I was saying this last night, of this team. What makes them an all-time great. They can have, and I know Draymond as well, but 3 Hall of Fame scorers, and one could be great, and the other 2 don't need to play. They can win Game 4 tomorrow, DZ, where Clay maybe has one of his nights, puts up 37. The others are mediocre. So
that's a quarter. That's not a night.
But to your point, Bones, they're unselfish and understand that it doesn't matter who's doing it on that given night.
You hit it right on the head. Each guy understands. Jordan Bell, how many times you tap me, he's like, how come Iguodala didn't shoot the basketball? 2 dribbles, draw the defense in, easy layup, or a wide-open 3. That's to your point. They understand that there's 3 guys with flamethrowers on the floor, but everyone else on the floor, Brent, understands that unless I got an easy layup or a dunk, I'm looking for one of those 3 guys to finish the play.
Justin Kimbrell, our brilliant researcher, gave me the numbers. 24 of 38 for the Golden State Warriors in the restricted area. 24 field goals in the restricted area to the tune of 63%. I mean, that's just a massive output
Iggy don't do it like
of
that.
off-ball movement and cutting and freedom and flow in the offense. And another unselfish game by the Golden State Warriors and what they can do on that end of the floor.
Someday I want to love something as much as 3D loves any word before only, and you love Justin Kimbrell, but I'm going to work on it. Did you love the defense against what you saw from Kevin Durant with the switching? You know, look, LeBron obviously has done a lot. He's been fantastic in the postseason, but I think 3D, we're sitting up there, a bunch of us watching the game, and you're thinking, okay, in the fourth quarter, do you want to see him take on more of a challenge and not allow such easy switches with KD in terms of defensively yesterday?
Well, I think the biggest thing is the easy switches, Brent, we know is you have to switch with the purpose. A lot of times, to your point, Casey, LeBron could stay with KD right there, fight over the screen. We know he's strong enough. And like you said earlier, Bones, now KD's in the groove. When he gets that little turnaround jump shot, there's no way you can block that shot.
Now, one of the things that possibly the coaching staff for the Cavaliers might be discussing is when they have these switches, are they going to have a designated hitman? And that's like almost a baseball term, Casey. The designated hitter in this case for the Cavs would be that, like in this situation, when Draymond Green's moving away from the ball, at some point that should trigger Tristan Thompson to come back and double team. And it might be one of these situations where you try this strategy by saying, look, whoever Draymond Green is guarding, if we get this switch and Kevin Durant has the ball, after a count, you're coming from that end of the floor. You're communicating to the guy guarding Durant, hit right or hit left, so you know the double team is coming. And you're not leaving Clay and Steph, but you are leaving Draymond Green open to shoot maybe 16 to 18 shots in the game, not necessarily threes, and challenge him to make more plays on the offensive end. But last night, no stopping Kevin Durant. It really was a thrill to watch that performance here. No offense to the Cavs fans, but a few of them even leaving the building.
They're really good.
They're really good, but they had an appreciation for how great a scorer, an all-time great scorer Kevin Durant is.
They got to leave the building officially after he hit that one from about 28 feet. One of the big late buckets came from Andre Iguodala. There were questions during the game. Is it health? Is it age? He didn't look like he wanted to get up at all. He was giving the ball up, but he showed he can get up. That dunk was one of that huge plays down the stretch in that fourth quarter.
We were all laughing. There was a couple plays where he wasn't rotating as fast. The feet weren't moving. We were wondering why he was giving up certain plays. And then he gets the ball and he gives up the assist. Like plays like that, you're like, most people would shoot that, but he's like, no, I know Klay Thompson's on the floor. Let me bait the defense and get my teammates easier shots. And then when he came down the pipe and dunked on Tristan Thompson and gave that look, Brent, we said, there's something left.
Kevin Durant a plus 15, Klay Thompson a plus 14. The next guy in line who's missed the last 6 playoff games for the Golden State Warriors is Andre Iguodala, a plus 14 off the bench last night. And you see how efficient the role players were. Yeah, we'll talk about this throughout the day. The easy cuts and easy opportunities. Sean Livingston in the series 13 of 14 through 3 games. The one thing, 3D, that I think you and I appreciate about Andre Iguodala and the way that Steve Kerr talks about him often is there is a coyness to Andre Iguodala. He's always got a setup. Like he's 2 steps ahead, and he's going to get to something eventually. You don't know exactly when, but he's just such a coy basketball player.
Yes, very good use of coy. By the way, hitman is more of a Scorsese term than a baseball
designated
term.
hitter. How's that?
Right, exactly.
The designated hitter is where I wanted to go with that. Yeah, that's
we'll help Bones during the break. We'll get the Cavs side of this, including LeBron James, who himself had a very good game yesterday, but not good enough in a Game 3 loss. What else can the King do?